Hello everyone, I'm Cloud and welcome to Anime no Mi. Today we will talk about the Devil's Fruits in One Piece, what the true origin of these fruits according to all the revelations made in the manga. After all, this fruit makes those who eat it gain incredible and mysterious powers, but also be cursed forever, and we'll see the reasons for this in today's video. So I'm already counting on your support to leave like in today's video and subscribe if you're new here. Now let's go to the video. Guys, as we all know, the powers of the Devil's Fruits are a complete mystery even in the world of One Piece, where the greatest scientist in the world dedicated a good part of his life and still dedicates himself to discover the whole truth about these fruits. Oda already explained to us a long time ago while answering a question that one day a great scientist would arise who would have unraveled the whole mystery behind the Devil's Fruits and would reveal to the world about the emergence of fruits and their powers. From then on we came to believe that he was talking about Vegapunk, the greatest scientist in the One Piece world today, that he will actually discover all the secrets and at some point will bring that revelation, possibly when he is finally introduced in person in the series. However, in the meantime, we've already had a lot of information about the fruits that grant those who take a single bite a totally unique power, in addition to taking away that person's ability to swim. Let's start with the fact that these fruits have an implicit link between the past that was lost in the history of the world, in the century that was erased, and thus would also have an indirect link to the D and the Great Lost Kingdom, and we'll go talk about all this in today's video. But starting with how the Devil's Fruits empower those who eat them, this has already been explained in One Piece in two different ways, one bringing up the legend about a demon and the other through Dr. Vegapunk's studies of the bloodline factor. It is said that devil fruits are the fruits of sea demons and that the secret of their power is hidden in the Grand Line, on the last island that was only found by the King of Pirates. As outside the Grand Line, encounters with devil fruit users are rare. Several rumors have emerged about these fruits. Many do not even believe in the existence of the fruits, but those who believe say that in that fruit there is a devil, and whoever eats it acquires the powers of this being. But Vegapunk's research led to a different answer. Devil fruit and their lineage factor interact directly with the bloodstream if they're wearer from a single bite, and thus the change in their lineage factor causes may your powers awaken. But at the same time, in that it would explain how the devil's fruits would interact in its user's blood, it doesn't explain where the powers in the fruits came from, because whoever eats them loses the ability to swim, much less how the fruit would lose its power right after a single bite. We then see that there is something mystical in the history of these fruits. After all, after a user loses his life, these fruits are reborn randomly, and no one really knows the secrets behind all this. Those who today dominate the world of One Piece, the Sekai Sifu, the world nobles, the Gorosei, and even the Im, who are the ones who know the true history of the world, they have no knowledge about the fruits. After all, if the origin of the fruits was something they wanted to hide as they hid the lost century and also try to hide the secret of the initial D, then they wouldn't allow Vegapunk to continue researching. Sekai Sifu wants to discover this secret. After all, we know that devil fruits are not born in a natural way, they just appear in a similar fruit. That is, devil fruits assume a normal fruit that has similar proportions, as we saw an apple becoming a devil fruit. And that's when we started to theorize about the possible connection of the devil's fruits with the D and with the Great Kingdom. After all, it seems to be connected in a single great story which made the 20 kingdoms united in the past. As we know, during the lost century, 800 years ago, there were 21 kingdoms, but 20 of them united against the greatest of these kingdoms to destroy it and erase its history. These 20 kingdoms that joined forces became known as the Sekai Sifu, and the descendants of their leaders are the world nobles. And that's when we reached the point that would be connecting everything. The world nobles call themselves the gods of the One Piece world. We've seen at various times a member of the group calling themselves God. And then we go to the name given to the enemy of God, the devil, which is the name given to the fruits that empower their users. Not only that too, this title is also given to those who currently represent danger to the world's nobles, those who possess the will of the D. As we know, those who have the initial D are called enemies of the Sekai Sifu, and for this reason in several places, especially the world nobles, stories are told that portray them as monsters, as natural enemies of the gods. And possibly the same thing happened centuries ago. All these titles would have their origin since the existence of the most powerful kingdom of all, the Great Kingdom, which possesses all the technology, like the ancient weapons, and also the secret of the devil's fruits. But to make this whole connection easier to understand, let's see everything we know about the Great Kingdom. The Great Kingdom was first mentioned in a One Piece by Professor and archaeologist Clover, the leader of Ohara's researchers, and this came as he tries to prevent the destruction of Ohara. Clover asked to communicate with the Gorosei, and as he explained to the five elders what he had discovered by studying the history of the world, he reveals that he knew why they feared the events that occurred during the lost century, the way the Great Kingdom would pose a threat to the Sekai Sifu for its power and goals. However, using the monoliths created by the ancestors of Odin, the Great Kingdom, knowing what would happen with the joining of the other 20 kingdoms, tried to preserve its history through these indestructible stones, as they knew that the other kingdoms intended to erase their history. As we know, this story was spread around the world just as the kingdom disappeared, and so, the Sekai Sifu forbade anyone to translate what was written on those monoliths, as they fear what that kingdom may have saved about its history. Besides, only the Gorosei seem to know some topics about the past. We don't know why the knowledge of this realm is a threat to the world government, but information about the 3 ancestral weapons has been revealed. But if they have the knowledge to create these combat items, they can also have the knowledge about the truth of the devil's fruits. After all, everything indicates that the devil fruits were created by someone. All this because there is a limited amount of these fruits in the world of One Piece, and all this because from what we saw in the One Piece story, devil fruits have different shapes, models and colors, but they are never repeated, or a fruit never changes its appearance. When one of its users loses their life, this fruit manages to return to nature, and that's because a normal fruit becomes the devil's fruit. Also, there is a book that contains information about all the devil's fruits that exist in the world. There is a lot of fruit, but these fruits are not unlimited. With this book, Teach was able to find out exactly which fruit he wanted and needed to accomplish the year plans, memorizing their shape and achieving it in the future. We also saw how the Vinsmoke family also owned one of these books that told about the devil's fruits. Their Sanji decided on the fruit he wanted to have since his childhood, and the fact that totally unique fruits do not appear indicates that the existing ones were created by somebody. The question is how the reproduction of these fruits is maintained until today, 800 years after the events of the lost century. This indicates that the technology of the past, and in the case of today's theory, the knowledge of the Great Kingdom, was much greater, including that current knowledge. All this because we saw how Caesar Clown, for example, managed to create some Zoan fruits, known as Smile, and for a fruit to work, it is necessary to make several fruits, so that one really has powers. We also saw that Vegapunk has already managed to replicate a Zoan, the Dragon Devil fruit, but he said that Devil fruit was still imperfect and discarded it, and with that, he should be the only one to know that these fruits were created in the past, and that he has not yet achieved the same result as the Great Kingdom. So I believe that there may be a great connection between the Great Kingdom, the D, and also the Devil's fruit, and that this set has been the reason why the other kingdoms have erased all past history. And knowing about the importance of devil fruits, the way these fruits completely changed the course of One Piece's history, we should hope that they really have a great importance and relationship with the so precious past of One Piece. After all, the young protagonist got a power that was important to Sekai Sifu, a power that we don't know its true value, and because few people know the truth about this fruit, only Shanks and also Sekai Sifu had the knowledge to desire this fruit. And then the question arises as to why the highest ranked celestial dragons, the Gorosei, knew about the fruit. The question is why they have knowledge and interests in the devil's fruits. We only see Sekai Sifu's interest and moves in One Piece for a few issues, like keeping past history lost, getting the powers of the 3 ancient combat items, and finally, they also have an interest in devil fruits, even to the point of encouraging research by Dr. Vegapunk to find out everything about these fruits. But comment, what do you think about this? What do you believe is the true origin of the devil's fruits? Don't forget to leave your likes in the video to help the channel, and also subscribe if you're still new here. The channel is new and needs your help. Thank you so much for watching our video so far. Your support is very important. See you in the next video. Bye.